Hey guys, welcome to today's healthy recipe video. I am super excited about this one. It is chocolate brownies. No joke, when you see how delicious these brownies look, you can have one huge square that's like that big for 190 calories and no sugar. How amazing is that? Also, I did 7 different attempts of creating this recipe and I was not going to stop trying until I actually created one that is fudgy like a brownie. So I promise you this is really good. All right, so we're gonna dive right in. The main things you need to do first is preheat your oven to 350. The size of the pan that I'm using is this size right here, so you wanna grease that. We're gonna set this to the side before we actually put all the ingredients in there. So I am going to walk through what you need while also showing you the brands that I use. I feel like that's the easiest thing to do. First things first, you want half a cup of Lily's Stevia sweetened dark chocolate. So the reason we're using these is because it cuts out the sugar and these are much healthier and natural for you. So we're gonna take half a cup of these. We're gonna put it in a microwave safe mixing bowl. We're then gonna just take 2 tablespoons of butter. So this is Kerrygold grass-fed butter, and it's got the little marks on here so you know that it's 2 tablespoons. So we're gonna put this in here. We're then gonna pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds, stir it, and then about another 15 to 30 seconds, stir it again until it's totally melted. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so you want the chocolate and the butter to be totally melted so that it's glossy and smooth. There shouldn't be any chunks in it at all. If you put it in for 30 seconds and pull it out and stir it and that's enough for it to melt, stick with that then. You don't need to do extra. So then what we're gonna do is, this is Hershey sugar-free chocolate syrup. It's in the normal section where you would buy Hershey's chocolate syrup. We're gonna put half a cup in there. All right, so we have half a cup, so we're gonna put that in here with the chocolate that we just melted. So the reason I'm using the sugar-free chocolate syrup is because this recipe, normally you would do a cup of the chocolate chips, but because I am making this a little less full of sugar and lower calories, I'm substituting half of that with a sugar-free chocolate syrup because the syrup is a similar consistency to the melted chocolate. So we're putting that in here. We're gonna mix all that up, okay? So then you can just let that sit for a second while it comes to room temperature. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 1 cup of brown sugar SWERVE. So this is SWERVE. What this is it is a natural sugar replacement. So it uses erythritol, which is a sweetener source, but this is the brown sugar version. You want it to be packed in there, so it's not loosely. So as you can see, this is pretty firm. So you want to take 1 cup of that, put it in a mixing bowl. You can see it's definitely packed in there. We're then gonna do half a cup of almond flour. This is the brand that I used, almond flour. Make sure whatever brand you use that it is finely ground and from blanched almonds. That's gonna make a huge difference in the consistency. So we're gonna dump that in there. I like to use a fork to kind of break it up and mix it up. So these are our dry ingredients. We just wanna make sure that the consistency is nice and smooth and we don't have any chunks. So then we are taking 1 scoop of protein powder. Now, I am using my own protein, so the ABS protein, ABS protein, because it's a blend. You need a blend. Regular whey is not gonna work for this because of the consistency of it. So I'm using a blend protein. We're using 1 scoop of that. What this is doing is this is also replacing part of the flour that's in the regular recipe. So not only are we getting more protein into this, but we're also cutting down on the almond flour, which will reduce some of the carbs. So 1 scoop of that, you're gonna mix this up again, make it nice and smooth so there's no clumps. Okay, you then need half a teaspoon of baking powder. This is just standard baking powder. So I'm gonna take that. I always use the top of this too to like scrape it off so it's even. So we'll do half a teaspoon of baking powder. We're gonna mix that in too. All right, so all of our dry ingredients are mixed up, ready to go. You then need 2 eggs. So at this point, this chocolate should be about room temperature. We're actually gonna add the eggs into this, okay? That way we have all of our wet ingredients mixed up together, making it easy for us to do the batter. So we got 1 whole egg, 2 whole eggs. I'm just gonna mix this up again, just using a fork, nothing fancy. All right, once that's mixed, our last ingredient is gonna be vanilla extract. You need about 1 teaspoon. Honestly, I just use the cap. I don't get super worried about how much of that, because it's vanilla extract. It's not a big deal. So, use about 1 teaspoon, mix all that up. Okay, so now we are going to put the chocolate in here while we kind of fold it. So you don't want to overbeat it because it changes the consistency of the brownie batter. So I'm gonna put some of this in, then I'm gonna mix that a little bit, and then I'll pour the rest of it in. So like I said, make sure that you don't over mix it, but you do want to have a really smooth consistency. So this is nice and smooth, it's brownie batter, it's not chunky, all the ingredients are mixed in there nice and well. So now, we're gonna take that pan from earlier that we pre-greased, so all I used was just pan butter spray, nothing fancy with that either. And we're gonna spoon this entire batter into the pan. Once you have it all spooned into the pan, you just want to take a second and spread it out evenly. You have plenty of batter, so we're just making sure that it's nice and even. It smells so good. All right, so we're gonna spread all that out. Now you have the option, some people like to put walnuts on top of their brownies. You can totally do that. You can just take some crushed walnuts, put them on top. If you wanted to, you could sprinkle 1 to 2 tablespoons of these Lily's chocolate chips on there, since it's only about 60 calories per serving. But I'm gonna bake it just like it is so I can show you what it looks like. We're gonna pop this in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna check it with a toothpick just in the middle to make sure it's fully done. If it is, I'll pull it back out, and if not, I'll throw it back in. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven. All right, so these are done and they look amazing. So I actually didn't even have to use a toothpick or anything, because if you look at the top of this, what I normally do to test it is I'll just slightly touch it. If it springs back, it's done. If it were gooey or kind of jiggly, I would throw it back in there for a few minutes. This is what it looks like though. So I'm gonna let this cool, but the way that you do it, so it's based on the serving size with the nutrition, is I'm gonna cut it 1 time down the middle, and then I'll do about 1/3 of the way and 1/3 of the way, so it makes 6 good sized brownies. As you can see, like if you imagine half of this, about that much, that's 1 serving. So I will place the nutrition on the website in the description, so that way you can see what it is. It's about 190 calories, 9 grams of protein, 9 grams of net carbs, and then 14 grams of healthy fats with 0 sugar. That's my recipe. I hope you enjoy it. Give it a try. If you do love it, please let me know. And if you have any requests on something like this that you want me to come up with a way to eat it healthier, let me know and I will get to experimenting. But I'll see you in some of the other videos. Thank you so much for watching.